Sueur. So my first question, guys, is basically how important was it for you to become the very first MMA organization to come to France and to Paris?
Yeah, listen, this is something that we've been working for the last 3 years, along with other organizations that have tried to help and support and to also be the first. So, for the Minister of Sport and the French Mixed Martial Arts Federation, the new one that was just created, it's to be chosen to have the first one. It's an honor and it's a privilege, and it's something that will go down in history. For all time, the Bellator was the first mixed martial arts fight in France.
And so we'll see Cheick Kongo fight on October 10th. And I know you can't tell me everything, but what are your plans for France for the future?
We have had a very successful European tour, and we've been working very hard to go to, let's say, countries like the UK and sign some top fighters, go to Italy, sign some top fighters, go to Tel Aviv and Israel, sign some top fighters, and Dublin in Ireland, sign some top fighters. So we're not just coming into the market to come and then leave and then come and leave. We want to make France a stop maybe twice a year and be part of our European circuit, as well as come there and still do some fights from, let's say, the US, like we're doing now, broadcast back to the US. But that is the plan, is make it part of the European circuit, and maybe once a year we'll come and do another show with maybe international fighters, like the United States fighters versus the European fighters. But
Okay.
one thing I've noticed is when we go there to do a show in different markets and we open up the market, then it basically more MMA gyms open up, more people practicing MMA, more fighters coming out. And as you know, the French culture has accepted martial arts for many years.
Mhm.
Jerome Le Banner, Dita Diafat, all the great fights I used to see with Rob Kamen and Rick Rufus, and then it was the Bercy Arena, right? And
Okay.
it was all on Canal Plus. Big culture. There's a show called the Budo Gala, I'm sure you know. And so France has accepted the martial arts culture, and this is the next step for martial arts. Is the martial arts fighting in mixed martial arts. So we're excited. This is going to be a great event, and I'm looking forward to coming out to France next week and promoting the fight and have everybody come check it out.
Great. And speaking of Canal Plus, you recently secured a deal with CBS in the US. And for France, will fans be able to watch Bellator Paris on TV or on YouTube?
Well, right now there's the French, like in
CSR.
United States, called so CSR. Sorry, the CSR doesn't
Yes.
allow it yet, but we crossed the first hurdle, which was the government allowing the combat sport to happen. So then the next step is we're currently working on the CSR to approve the telecast from inside France to televise mixed martial arts. As you know, Bellator is owned by Viacom. Viacom is a media company worldwide, has a big presence in France, and we're going to work with them and Paulo and other executives of the company to continue to lobby to get that part finalized and move forward. But I think it's just a matter of when. And I think that now that the sport is legal, I think that it's just a formality, and eventually it will be allowed on TV in France.
So we're looking at like end of 2020 or 2021?
I mean, I hope that by the end of 20 or maybe the beginning of 21, that this will be a situation that doesn't have to keep hurtling. Because, when I think about when California gave me the very first license back in 06, then New York was opened by the UFC, and Toronto was open, and this is really like the last major country that is that has really not been allowed yet to do it. And now that I feel like, we finally got the approval after all these years of working hard with everybody, not just us, but everybody lobbying, then it's important to get the media side, the CSR, to approve it. And so we're working hard on that, but I think it's just going to be a matter of time.
Great. So in less than 2 weeks, Cheick Kongo will fight in Paris. What's the situation with him with Bellator? Are you planning a match between him and Bader with a victory in Paris?
Wow, that would be great, wouldn't it? It would be
Yeah,
fantastic.
of course.
Listen, if
Yeah.
Cheick Kongo wins in a decisive fashion, right, then he should be in line to fight Bader next, because their fight was controversial because of the whole ICE situation, everything like that. But Cheick, through his manager, Cheick has told us, look, he wants to fight in France, and he wanted to be the very first one to go back and to fight there for his fans, and go back to his country. So to me, this was a natural. And if Cheick wins, maybe we'll come back next year early, and you'll see the fight between Bader and Cheick Kongo, number 2 in Paris at the Accordé Arena.
Please, that would be great.
Yeah.
And about Bellator, so not France but worldwide, what's let's say the strategy for Bellator in the future, in the coming years? Because you recently signed a couple of young prospects with also the cousin of Khabib Nurmagomedov, of course. So any big things already planned with, for instance, Chris Cyborg will fight in a couple of weeks, but Fyodor, for example?
Yeah, I tell you, I've always believed that you should build the fighters from the ground up, and then you sprinkle it with some free agents, from the top down. That's how you build your roster. So we just, as you said, signed a bunch of fighters that are under the age of 27. I would say the average age is 27, and they have an 85 to 87% win ratio. So we're signing the next blue chip prospects of MMA, and we're going to be out scouring the planet. It doesn't matter what city, what state, what country. If you're a top prospect, we're going to come find you. And again, Bellator is not just a USA property. We have distribution deals all over the world. We're airing in, I want to say, 150 countries. And so we'll be looking for everybody. And, the strategy is to continue to grow this brand in a respectful manner and help grow mixed martial arts, and go out and put the best fights on that we can put on.
And I also have a question for you about your underrated talents, some of your underrated talents. For you, if you had to name your top 3 of the greatest fighters on the planet, pound for pound, at the moment, who would that be?
I mean, I think AJ McKee is somebody that is kind of sliding under the radar right now. And, he's been in our featherweight tournament that got postponed because of COVID. But we have announcements coming up that we're going to re-engage in the tournament, and the tournament will continue. So he'll be fighting in the next couple months. But I think he's a kid that is going to be dangerous, that, will give people a lot of problems. And I think that Usman, the one we just signed today, Khabib's younger cousin, he's 23 years old, has a record of 11-0, very good wrestler and grappler. But I think people underestimate his Muay Thai ability, his striking ability. So I think that he'll be another prospect that I think that will develop. And really, we have, I think today we signed like 8 or 10 in the last couple of weeks. But I think that, some people count out Aaron Pico, but I haven't counted him out yet. I think that he's made the transition, feels very comfortable at his new camp with Greg Jackson and Mike Winklejohn in Albuquerque. He moved over there, and he has a home there now. He has his horses there, and he's a guy that's going to be dangerous. So we still have high hopes for him. But we have a lot of prospects out there, and we're going to keep looking for some more. But if you were the top 3, I think those are the top 3 that I could think of right now.
And in the US, for the less educated MMA audience, let's say, it's mostly about Bellator and UFC, with some fighters experiencing both organizations, such as Rory McDonald or Chris Cyborg. For you, what makes Bellator different from the UFC?
Well, you know what? Our philosophy is, I think we're going to promote the fighter, and, we'll build your brand and your business. on a business sense, you don't have to wear like a company sponsor, or you could get your own sponsor. So they have the ability to have a little bit more freedom, I think, with us. And, I think we pay very competitively if we really want to sign you. And that's how we've been getting some of these free agents and these young prospects, because we want to invest in them. And so, and I think that our staging is a little bit different. Like if you look at our staging with the ramp and all the lights, it's more like a Pride was, like a Japanese style show back in the day, and K1. And really, it's more of I think it's a better produced show. And listen, UFC is doing a great job. I have nothing bad to say about them. They are making a big impact in the industry, and they've been here a very long time. But there has to be more than just one to keep it competitive for the fighters, because the fighters need to have an option. If they don't want to go, a lot of fighters don't want to go to UFC. So you know what? Then we can have a home for them, right? And so to me, we're a good fit for some. They're a good fit for some. They're doing their thing. We're doing our thing. But we're building an industry together, whether they feel that way or not. And there's that saying that the rising tide lifts all boats, right? And so that's how I feel about it. Is that we're growing mixed martial arts together.
Recently, people have talked about Michael Chandler, who signed as a free agent for the UFC. Was it for you a business decision, let's say, to let him go because he was at Bellator for so many years?
I'll tell you, personally, it was tough because Michael is a very good man. He's a family man. He's everything that I love in a martial arts fighter. He walks the talk, and it was hard because we've been together so long and working together. But I just felt like, look, the time was right. And it's a business decision. And it's no different than here in American football. Like do we invest in this person, or do we invest in these people? Or do we continue this relationship, or do we invest in the younger, like the Usmans of the world? And I think that he'll have good success there. And it says a lot about Bellator's quality of fighters. Think about this. We have Michael's not our champ. He's our former champ, but yet he's in line for the backup to the title fight, right? So right away, he goes right into the title mix over there. And that just shows you the level of quality of fighters that Bellator has, because if that wasn't the case, they would never have said that or done that. So, we have some of the best fighters in the world. We have the best light heavyweight division in the country or in the planet right now. And we're building other divisions. We're basically reloading our 155-pound weight class with a lot of these young guys coming in. And if you look at our 125 female division, it's stacked from top to bottom. And we have the best female fighter of all time. I think she's still the GOAT in Cris Cyborg, because if you look at her body of work over all the years, no one has done more for female fighting over all these years than Cris Cyborg. In 2006, when she fought Gina Carano, 2009, when she fought Gina Carano, that was the very first female fight in mixed martial arts on a major network broadcast in the US and throughout the world. And so she's been here and done it all. And you know what? I know that, she had a fight with Amanda that she lost, but you can't just judge a fighter off of one fight. You have to judge it off the whole body of work.
You also have a reputation of being really close to your fighters, with fighters who fought at Strikeforce, now at Bellator. For you, it seems that it's more than just business. How important is that for you to build a relationship with your fighters?
I'll tell you, to me, that's the most important, because, they're fighters for only a certain amount of time, right? But you become friends with these people, and, it's like, this is about business too, but it's about people. Business is about people, right? And that's how I look at it. And I've had such a great relationship with a lot of fighters that, that went to the UFC, and even like Luke Rockhold. We're still very good friends, play golf all the time. Daniel Cormier and I still hang out, have breakfast. And in fact, Daniel's the one that brought Corey Anderson over here, to Bellator. And so he felt it would be a good home for us. So, when I think about T Wood, we were still text chat all the time. I wish him luck all the time. I said, listen, Strikeforce never dies. You got to go, man. You got to keep doing it. And so, but we become very good friends, and I love these fighters. I respect them. And really, I got that from being in a traditional martial arts school my whole life, right? Working for K1, Mr. Ishii told me one time, the owner of K1 at the time, he said, the fighters are, the stars, right? And you have to respect them because they're putting their lives on the line every time. And they're the ones that have the Bushido spirit, right? And so that always got me to heart. And I always said, that's how we're going to treat our athletes here. And I think that we treat our athletes better than any other league in the planet right now.
And you've been in this business for more than 35 years, 30 years. I don't know exactly, but
Yeah.
What has been in Strikeforce and Bellator, what has been your biggest achievement so far?
I think opening California was a major achievement in 2006. Frank Shamrock fought Cesar Gracie. And then, I'd say the kickboxing era, building Strikeforce kickboxing on ESPN, but also one of my most magic moments is working for K1 when I got to run K1's North American operations and understand really, Mr. Ishii taught me the international side of the business by working with K1. Like, Jerome LeBanner. I never even knew who Jerome was until I went to K1. And then Peter Arch, and Ernesto Hoost. But, K1 was such it's like I got my PhD degree at K1 working for 8 years over there. So I'll be forever indebted to Mr. Ishii. But there's so many great fights. I mean, I think about one fight, Diaz versus Daley in San Diego. That was one of my favorite fights of all time. I mean, that was just like such a magic moment. Kung Lee versus Frank Shamrock. That was such it was the loudest I've ever heard an arena, whether it's a football game, U.S. football, or basketball, or that arena was rocking that night, and it was unbelievable. But so many great stories, so many great, memories in the past.
On the other end, in terms of fights or events, what has been your, let's say, biggest regret?
That's a hard question because every time we tried to, to do a fight, it's always been, like something that we have good intentions in mind, right? And sometimes things don't work out. Sometimes they work out. I'm talking about on a business level, right? But, we've kept how many fighters busy over the last 35 years? We've been a very good promotion company. And, my background really is kickboxing, promotion. And only in MMA, when MMA became legal in California in 2006, then we went over there. But, I'll just tell you a story. One of my biggest, not regrets. Yeah, I guess that's a regret. The very first show we did, Frank Shamrock, Cesar Gracie, I ordered a cage from my friend, and the cage showed up the night before the fight, and it was just horrible. I mean, it was shaking. I thought the thing was going to break, right? Okay. So it had a gap this big on the bottom, and I was freaking out. I didn't even go home and get ready and come back, and I stayed there. And it was Cowboy Cerrone that drove it from Tennessee all the way to California so we could do our first show. And this is a true story. And we were zip tying it. Bob Cook, myself, okay, and Dwayne Ludwig, the fighter at the time, and he's a good coach. And we were zip tying the corners together to hold it tight. Otherwise, I said, as soon as Frank Shamrock hits this cage, it's going to break. So the whole night I couldn't enjoy the show because I was so worried about the cage breaking. That's something that I will never forget as long as I live.
But you did it.
Yes.
And I have one last question, Scott. Sure. It's about 2020, 2021. If you could book any fight out of any fight from your roster, which one would it be?
Boy, that's that's a good question. We have a lot of good fights that we're going to match up. I mean, listen, one of the fights that I'm really excited about is the rematch between Nemkov, who beat Bader, and fighting Phil Davis again. That's going to be a fight we're going to put together in the future. And then next year, I believe you'll see a 125-pound female tournament that we'll put on a Grand Prix tournament. And these tournaments, we give out $1 million prize for the final champion. So, but I'll tell you, the fight that I'm really excited. I don't even have to look forward in the future because we're going to do it October 29th, and that's going to be Lima versus Gegard. That is going to. I'm telling you right now, don't miss it. It's going to be unbelievable. So that's a fight I'm really looking forward to. So we got a lot of great fights coming up, and I just I can't even put my name on one, but I think that AJ versus Darren Caldwell coming up, that's going to be something that's going to be really, really good too. So I feel fortunate. We have a lot of great fights in the tank right now, and we're gonna come out next year swinging. So it's gonna be fun.
Perfect, great. Thank you very much, Scott. Thank you very much, guys.
Sueur.